You may remember, if you were watching us on Breakfast, we spoke yesterday about universal credit. A group of MPs said the system was causing unacceptable hardship for those it was designed to help.
Quite a few people got in touch and said it was also causing a real problem for landlords and raising concerns it would lead to fewer private landlords offering housing to tenants on universal credit.
An example of people who've been getting in touch: one landlord from Nottingham contacted us to say one of his 4 universal credit tenants, all of them, are in arrears and they face eviction as the landlord is struggling to pay the mortgage. Another said that while she has huge sympathy for her tenants, her only income is from rental properties and half of those tenants can't pay her on time.
Yes, on the other side of the equation, a mother contacted us to say she had to step in to stop her son and grandchildren from being made homeless. He lost his job. His landlord served him with an eviction notice after being told his universal credit payment would take time to be processed. And we're hearing more and more of those stories about how long it's taking for the system to set up. It's causing real problems. So, joining us from our London newsroom is Balbir Chattrick, who's head of policy at housing charity Centrepoint. Very good morning to you. On the sofa this morning, we have private landlord Wendy Waring. Wendy, very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Now, I mean, it's worth saying is the head of talking to you. People are not necessarily hugely sympathetic to landlords on the whole. Maybe get a bit of a hard time. But just, can you tell us your experience? You have, is it 47?
There's 46 houses in Lee.
Yeah.
And I did social housing for people with difficulties. So I set it all up. We was working with Wigan Council and Lee Council. They were recommending their tenants because they had no houses to give them.
And just to be clear, quite a few of these tenants are on universal credit.
Every single one.
OK, so what
Every
happened?
single one.
What are the problems that you've encountered?
So I went on the courses before it rolled out, and then I go to my tenant because I have to talk to my tenant before I can talk to universal credit. So I went to the tenants, which they have a journal on their phone of when the rent. My average rent coming through is 8 to 10 weeks. The first payments...
Late. 8 to 10 weeks late.
8 to 10 weeks for every house. Every tenant then is in arrears. We only get 1 month's rent when we get it.
So let me just be clear. Since universal credit has kicked in, these tenants have gone into arrears. That's what has happened in practice.
Every tenant is in arrears.
Because the money is not forthcoming and there are delays in the system.
They don't pay the full month. Say there's a delay of 8 weeks. After 8 weeks, we send out a UC 47 to universal credit, because after 8 weeks, the rent should automatically come to the landlord. So we do that. We don't get acknowledged that they've actually received it. We go to the tenant then, and we speak to the tenant. My tenants have been with me a long time. The genuine tenants, and the good tenants.
So we have the situation, and we'll go to the Centrepoint's comment on this in just a moment, but the situation as it stands is that the money's not coming through. There are delays. I mean, to whom do you turn to try? Because you've...
Who do I turn to? So they have, say for Lee, I deal with Lee, they have a team leader that works for universal credit if you've got any problems. So I phoned up on Monday and said, I've got a problem here. They're changing the system again, but nobody's telling me. I might have a problem. I don't know if they've received the UC 47.
And what do they say to you?
I'll get back to you. I don't know about that yet, Wendy, but you rolled it out. You should know. I'm phoning you as a landlord to please help me.
Right, OK. Well, let's talk to Balbir Chattrick, who is the Director of Policy at Centrepoint. And Balbir, heard what Wendy's saying. Wendy says these tenants are long-term tenants. She knows her tenants, but the system isn't helping. Is this something you're hearing as well? Are you hearing any positive noises about how this can be improved?
Well, what we're certainly finding is exactly what Wendy has experienced, and young people. And remember, Centrepoint works with very vulnerable homeless young people. Young people are saying to us, do you know what, we don't want our rent paid directly to us. We don't want between £800 and £1,000 paid into our bank account. We'd rather it was paid direct to the landlord. So really, they're saying exactly what Wendy's saying, and the system is a mess.
OK, well, what needs to be done now to sort out the system? What are you pushing for?
We're pushing for, well, first of all, you've got to wait 5 weeks before you get a universal credit payment. And remember, universal credit is actually based on the fact that you've been in work and you've got a month's salary. So you've got that to live on until you get your benefit payment. Now, a lot of the young people we work with are in precarious employment, 0 hours contract, and they haven't got that money to fall back on. So the 5-week wait period just doesn't work for young people and vulnerable claimants as a whole. So we'd be asking the government to look at that again.
OK, the Department for Work and Pensions has given a statement regarding this, and what it says is universal credit is a flexible benefit, gives claimants more control over their working lives and finances. What it also says, Wendy, is direct payments are not new to universal credit. Housing benefit has been paid directly to claimants in the private rented sector since 2008. So it's saying this hasn't changed.
It has changed, where they're saying that we get the payments. Yes, I do get some payments, but the tenant are in arrear. And where you're getting that 5 weeks money, the tenant has had a loan to survive. And then as soon as they get the first payment, they take the loan money out. And then if you had children in your house and you've got no food in your cupboard, as human nature, you're going to spend the rent money to feed your children.
Can you just be clear? So, Wendy, the situation now, and how long can you have this sustaining before you say, do you know what, I won't have tenants?
At the moment, what I feel like is boarding up all the houses, making everybody homeless, so that the government will do something about it. That I'm at that point now where I can make 46 families that I know homeless. And what will the government do then?
I must say, Wigan Council, which is the council you've been dealing with, does say that it has a pack available to landlords, help signpost appropriate support. You've already explained that when you have been in touch, they're not helping.
They don't know.
You're not getting the help. It says it has a tailored approach. It's going to continue to do this as more people migrate to the system, and it went to full universal credits in April 2018. It's aware of this debate around it.
We will, I'm sure, be talking about this again. Wendy, thank you for your perspective on this. And Balbir Chatrick from Centrepoint, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.
It's 16 minutes past 8. Let's talk to Darren. Let's find